Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Without consistency, you'll never finish. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it because it's inevitable. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed. And I prayed. But I continued to fail and fail and fail. But it didn't matter because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it and kick it off. It's officially 6:35. Wanted to give everyone 5 minutes to get in and get settled. I'm definitely a huge advocate for like motivational videos and just what you put in your brain on a day-to-day basis. It really can help you, I don't know, just start to be a little bit more positive, especially when life is beating you up. So hopefully everybody's having a great Thursday. It's the end of the week. where I'm at, and I'm so excited for the weekend. All right, cool. Before we jump into it, feel free to drop in the chat, guys. How has studying been going? I guess at this point, you all are officially T minus what, 2 weeks away? Yeah, 2 weeks away. Some of you all from taking your exams, depending on when you all enrolled. Let me see. When you all signed up for your certification, but hopefully studying is going well. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit prepared. If not, 2 weeks is still more than enough time to really grasp and understand the content. Another thing, I guess you guys could let me know as you prepare to kind of jump into studying is like where you all are getting the most value as far as doing the hands-on labs and being able to actually apply the information, studying through the videos, reading documentation. I do want to build out some more certification study plans for everyone else. We had an influx of people sign up for a bunch of different things, so we probably have someone taking like every certification under the belt. But make sure also, last housekeeping item, shout out to Kat and the Cozy Cloud crew. She did create a channel for all of you all for every certification that someone is taking. I will personally be going in there and dropping a study guide for each path, so you at least have a somewhat of a foundation to start working on. So let's go ahead and get into it. There is a lot of people who signed up for the AZ 900 exam. So I wanted to kick off with the cloud fundamentals because no matter who you are, it'll be good for you to like knock some of the dust off and look into just basic things about the cloud, right? Resource groups, IaaS versus PaaS, shaking off the dust. And then we can jump into 204 after that. Unless I'll start at AZ 900 unless I get somebody who did another certification. Feel free to drop your cert in the chat. I try to look at who RSVP for this ahead of time and focus on those study groups based on what you told me you were taking. But if we get something else in the chat live, we can always pivot. So let's kick it off with some Q&As. I guess we can look at some questions together for the AZ 900. And what you can do is try to give it your best guess, or if you know the answer, obviously give it your answer in the chat. And then if you don't know, write down the topic or write down the question. I'll drop a link to the YouTube video in the chat as well. And that's like a topic you can go back and read up on, so that way you're more prepared. The goal isn't really to get the answer right. I mean, if you know the answer, that's great. But the goal is to understand like the concepts behind the question, so that way you can pass your exam. Because it's not like what I'm going to show you is exactly from the exam. They're just like people on YouTube who have made practice content, or practice questions. So let's get into it with AZ 900. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let me see. All right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna drop the link to this YouTube video in the chat, so that way if you need to like timestamp what question we're on, go ahead. Even though this is AZ 900, it does cover just some basic like cloud fundamental stuff that'll be beneficial for anyone. So let's jump into it.
The viewers, here comes the question number one. It says that which of the following is a correct statement? Your options are private cloud equals to public cloud plus hybrid cloud. The second option is public cloud is equal to hybrid plus private cloud. And the third option is hybrid cloud is equal to private cloud plus public cloud. All
right, so the first question, we got three options, right? We have, we're trying to figure out which one is a true statement, which one is the correct statement. So this is one of those scenarios where it's only going to be one option, not in a scenario where you're picking the best option out of the three, right? So we have a private cloud, we have a public cloud, and we have a hybrid cloud, right? So when you get these questions, you definitely want to make sure you take a breather. You have more than enough time to get through everything that, every question. And you can also like open your free study guide while you are in the exam. There's like free MS Learn access, open book for your exam. So the way I would approach this question personally is I would start to try to eliminate the obvious incorrect answers, right? So just remove any context that you have about the cloud and just think about private places, public places, and hybrid places. Like, think about the definition of those words, right? Something that's private is going to mean that it only is accessible to like one person or specific group of people, or like people who are allowed or authenticated access to that place because it's private, right? If you rent out Chuck E. Cheese for a private party, only the people who are supposed to be there are going to be there, right? So for question A, when you look at private cloud equaling public cloud plus hybrid cloud, your immediate thought should be, okay, that doesn't sound like that's limiting access. That sounds like anyone can get into this party, right? So then I would go into question B. I would just like scratch off A, go to question B, public cloud, right? A hybrid cloud plus a private cloud. Now, public means it's open to anybody. Anybody could use it. So, you know, I'm not fully ruling out B just quite yet, but it still doesn't sound like it's open to the public. It sounds like hybrid, meaning a mix of both, and then private, meaning our exclusive people, right? And then last but not least, we have question C, which is hybrid cloud equals private cloud plus the public cloud, which just knowing what I would assume about the word hybrid, it satisfies that scenario, right? We have a private access and public access. So I'm logging in with C.
Previous series on AZ900, many of the viewers were really confused on this concept. So let me explain this concept a little bit further. So here comes the definition of private cloud. The private cloud is where the computing services are offered to the users over the internet or a private internal network. Moving towards the public cloud are owned and operated by third-party cloud service providers like Azure, AWS, or GCP. So what is hybrid then? Hybrid, as the name suggests, is a combination of public cloud and the private cloud. A hybrid cloud typically extends a connection from an on-premises data center to a public cloud. And that's why, my friends, the correct answer for this question is option C. Hybrid cloud is a combination of private cloud plus public cloud. Now let's check out what Microsoft has to say about private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. Starting with private cloud, Microsoft says that a private cloud consists of cloud computing resources used extensively by one business or organization. The private cloud can be physically located at your organization's on-site data center, or it can be hosted by a third-party service provider. But in case of private cloud, the services and the infrastructure are always maintained on a private network, and the hardware and the software are dedicated solely to your organization. So I hope you understood. Private cloud means data centers are on premises. They can be also hosted by third-party service providers, but the crux is that the hardware and the software both are solely dedicated to your organization. So what are the advantages of private cloud? Well, it offers more flexibility, more control, and more scalability. Now let's understand what is public cloud. So public cloud are most common type of cloud computing deployment. The cloud resources.
Like I said, for those of you who are joining in late, if you're studying for a specific certification, feel free to drop it in the chat. Right now, we're starting on some of the fundamentals on AZ900, but more than willing to work our way up into some of the more complex certifications. So drop anything in the chat that you're studying for specifically. But yeah, let's get back into it.
Like servers and storages are owned and operated by third-party cloud service provider and are delivered over the internet. With the public cloud, all hardware, software, and other computing infrastructure are owned and managed by cloud provider. Microsoft Azure is an example of public cloud. What are the other examples? Well, AWS and GCP. And what are the advantages of a public cloud? Well, it offers low cost, no maintenance, and near unlimited scalability, and also offers high reliability. So what is a hybrid cloud? Let's check out that. So here Microsoft says that a hybrid cloud is a type of cloud computing that combines on-premises infrastructure or a private cloud with public cloud. Hybrid cloud allows data and apps to move between two environments. So here you can see that the hybrid cloud essentially is a combination of public cloud and private cloud. So why organizations choose hybrid cloud? Well, organizations choose a hybrid cloud approach due to the business imperatives such as meeting regulatory and data sovereignty requirements, taking full advantage of on-premises technology investment, or addressing low latency issues. And what are the benefits of the same? Well, hybrid cloud offers you more control, flexibility, cost effectiveness, and ease. I hope you understand this very important concept of private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. A lot of question in AZ900 comes around these concepts, so please read this documentation. The link is right there in the description box. Coming to the second question, the question says that which of the following describes a benefit of cloud services? Your options are economics of scale, fixed workloads, and the third one is unpredictable cost. The correct answer for this question is option A.
Dang, I didn't pause it fast enough for y'all to answer it. I thought he was going to go into a quick description of it, but let's break it down real quick how to eliminate this one. So once again, this is an example of a question where there's only one true answer. Some of the questions you'll see on your exams, especially for you all who are taking the higher level ones or like the more difficult ones, is you're not picking the only answer, you're just picking the best answer for that scenario. But which of the following describes the benefit of cloud services? So we have economies of scale, which obviously is the right answer, fixed workload, and unpredictable costs. Now, to break down the other two, since he already talked about economies of scale being the answer, when you think about unpredictable costs, right, the whole point of moving into the cloud is to be able to get some sort of sense of, especially like as you use it over time, right? Like as you can gather data for your workloads, what type of demand you're getting, how many people are using it, how much data you're storing. It depends on what your application is doing, but the goal is that you can start to actually use resources within Azure that will tell you like what you are billing on a monthly basis and start to be able to predict or expect what you'll be charged. All of the services in Azure show you exactly what they charge down to the penny to do anything. So you can definitely work with like people on the Premier account if you have a contract, or you can work with some of the Azure calculators to understand what your bill should be once you move into the cloud, right? And also, since you're not on-prem anymore, you're not using like physical servers in your environment that you have to maintain, you can also pass a lot of that responsibility off the stack to the public cloud providers, right? Microsoft is going to be the one responsible for the availability, the uptime, and you're going to really just be the one who's making sure that, you're deploying the software and paying the bill, of course. So, and then, all right, cool. So we'll let him explain the rest of it. My bad, y'all. I'll do better at pausing in the future.
Economics of scale. The reason is that economics of scale is the ability to do the things more cheaply and more efficiently when operating at large scale in comparison to operating at a smaller scale. What this means is that the cloud providers such as Microsoft, Google, or Amazon are large-scale businesses and are able to leverage the benefits of scale and then pass on those benefits to their customer. Let me take example of the ability to acquire hardware at lower cost. So because these companies acquire the hardware at a massive scale, and due to this massive acquisition, they get a lot of discount, and then they can pass on these discount or cheaper costs to their customers, which is not possible for a single user or let's say a small scale business. So that's why economics of scale is a big benefit of cloud services. Moving on to the question number 3, here we have that when you...
Okay, let me take a quick break, y'all. So I saw some new people come in. So yes, we are starting off with AZ900, prepping on some of our cloud fundamentals. If you are not taking AZ900 in April, feel free to drop your certification in the chat. We can dive into that one next. We are going over live questions. I will pause it so we can answer it together, break down anything that you might not understand. He is also breaking down some of the answers for you. I'll give you all my strategies for how I would approach answering these questions if we were in a real-time quiz. And most importantly, make sure that you guys are writing down any questions that you get wrong or that you don't understand, because that means next week you can go back and dive into these areas a little bit deeper. Now, these aren't questions exactly off of the exam. They're just questions about the cloud and some of the topics in general. So the goal isn't to remember all of these questions per se, is to remember like how we got to that answer when we're going through it. So that's my disclaimer. And here is the YouTube link that we're watching if you want to like save this video so you can go back and, you know, participate in this Q&A on your own. So let's get it.
Implement a SaaS, which is software as a service solution, you are responsible for which of the following responsibilities?
Okay, so question 3, right? Cool. We got AZ204. We can definitely do that one next. I have a video saved for AZ204. So let's brush up on 900 and then skip over to 204 next. But the question is, when you implement a SaaS solution, so a software as a service solution, you are responsible for what, right? What are you guys thinking that an individual will be responsible for with the SaaS solution? So we have installing patches on operating systems. We have configure high availability. We have configuring the SaaS solution. And then we have installing or install the SaaS solution. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. I know we're streaming across YouTube and LinkedIn, so you guys probably can't see both chats, but I'll give you all like 60 seconds to key in an answer. It's okay if you get it wrong. This is week 1 of us studying together. So the goal is to just make your best educated attempt. While you all key that in the chat, the way, you know, once again, we're approaching this question is there's only one right answer here. So it's not one of those where it's trying to trick you into picking the best guess one. But okay, cool. So I'm really seeing a wide variety of responses across LinkedIn and YouTube. If you see me looking over here, I'm looking at the chat to see. So we have a few people saying C. We have a few people saying D. And we have, okay, more flooded in for C. And then 1A. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oops. There we go.
Your options are installing patches on operating system, configure high availability, configuring SaaS solution, and the last option is install SaaS solution. And the correct answer for this question is option C, configuring.
Look at you guys go. Everybody in the chat who says C, shout out to you all. Even for those of you who keyed in 2 answers, that's great that you're at least like close. You're in proximity. You're starting to like weed out what isn't correct. So still give yourself a pat on the back for that. So shout out to everyone who says C.
The SaaS solution. Now you may ask why this is a correct answer. So let me give you an example. I'm pretty sure that almost every one of you watching this video must have used some kind of email services. For example, Gmail, Outlook, or any other for that matter. Let's pick Gmail for now. So while using Gmail, have you ever installed any patches on the operating system? In fact, I'm sure that you would not have ever bothered about the operating system itself. Similarly, using Gmail, we have never thought about how to ensure high availability or installing Gmail. It is already there for us and we use it over internet. The only thing we are bothered about is to configure the Gmail in the manner that we want, the templates, the settings, and then use it to our convenience. And friends, just to make a point here that these email services such as Outlook, Hotmail, Gmail, all these comes under SaaS solution. Friends, just to help you study further and deeply understand.
Oh no, not the shameless plug. Okay, let's go. Let's go on to the next question. All right, y'all. Question 4. Which of the following refers to spending money up front and then deducting that expense over time? So this is where you are going to spend money now, and then in the future, you're going to be able to deduct that expense. So we have A, capital expenditure. We have B, operational expenditure, and then C, the supply and demand. Let me know in the chat. And okay, we got some people coming in hot with B. For that last question though about the operating systems, while you all key in the chat, you know, when you're developing a software as a solution, there's an image, maybe I can find it. It shows you like as you move up the stack from like infrastructure as a service, PaaS, and then SaaS solutions, like whose responsibility it is and how as you go up this stack where the responsibility shifts. That's probably a great image for you all to bake in your brain that will help you understand that question. I'm pulling it up in another tab. So we got some people saying B. It's between B and A. We got YouTube and LinkedIn between B and A. So let's see if we can get one more keyed in as a tiebreaker. All right, we're going with A. All right, I'm in another tab pulling up something for you guys, but let's see what he says.
And the third one is supply and demand. And the correct answer for this question is option A, capital expenditure. And friends, capital expenditure and operational expenditure are two most important and fundamental concepts in Microsoft Azure. In fact, they are very important from the exam perspective as well, and you will get handful of questions based on them. So let's first understand this concept better, and then we will do some questions based on this. So here, my friends, on this slide, I have captured the main differences between capital expenditure and operating expenditure. Starting with the capital expenditure. So capital expenditure, also known as CAPEX, is spending of money on the physical infrastructure upfront and deducting that expenses from your tax bill over the time. On the other hand, the operational expenditure is spending money on services or products now and then being billed for them now. You can deduct this expense from your tax bill in the same year. Moving on, capital expenditure is an upfront cost which has a value that reduces over the time and usually has no recurring cost. Then on the other hand, OPEX, well, there is no upfront cost, but that has a recurring cost. So a major decisive difference between capital expenditure and operational or operating expenditure is that capital expenditure is upfront cost while the operating expenditure is recurring cost. Moving on, capital expenditures are major purchases a company makes that are designed to be used over a long term. On the other hand, operating expenditure are day-to-day expenses a company incurs to keep its business operational. And now let's check out some examples of capital expenditure that includes physical assets such as buildings, equipments, machinery, and vehicles. And for the operating expenditure, we have employee salaries, rent, utilities, property taxes, and cost of goods sold. One more example, deploying your own data centers and Azure reserved virtual machine instances are few examples of CAPEX pricing model. Very important exam tip here. Azure reserved virtual machines are not categorized as operating expenditure. They are capital expenditure. Sometimes there can be a question on this because normally cloud solutions are more associated with the operating expenditure. So in case in exam, there is a question around Microsoft Azure reserved virtual machine, then you must select capital expenditure and not operating expenditure. And moving on, one more example of operating expenditure is Azure virtual machines. So I hope you understood the concept of capital expenditure.
All right, guys, let me share on my screen real quick about the software stack. Make sure you all screenshot this because this really helped me personally. Can you all see my entire screen? This helped me personally when I was in Microsoft. Sorry, when I was learning Azure. Hold on one second. Pulling it up. Okay, cool. And shout out to everyone who's just really trying because like some people are scared to put themselves out there and answer. It's okay if you're wrong. We're all new here and learning, but make sure you all screenshot this. This goes back to that question 2 questions ago about if you were building out a SaaS solution or software as a service. As you can see, it shows you like as you go up the stack from being on-prem to Microsoft handling the infrastructure, Microsoft handling the platform, and then ultimately you just building out SaaS solutions, you shift all that responsibility over to Microsoft. So that's why for that one, you weren't responsible for like upgrading or patching the OS or like high availability. Like Microsoft has agreements baked in that these things are going to be available. Like there's SLAs around all of that stuff. So make sure you screenshot this stack because it was only, no responsibility on us as a user because it was a SaaS solution. Now, if it was an infrastructure IaaS solution or infrastructure as a service solution, then that would be a different scenario. So just wanted to make sure y'all knew that one. But let's go through a few more questions and then we'll switch gears to 204. Let me know in the chat how you guys are doing and how you feel about it so far. All right, y'all. We want to see who's paying attention on this one because he just gave us the breakdown on CapEx and OpEx. So I'm going to hope we go 100% on this one and everyone participate on YouTube and LinkedIn. So from the choices below, what is one advantage of moving your infrastructure to Azure, right? So you're moving on-premise to Azure or in the cloud. We have A, the move reduces your CapEx expenditures. We have B, the move is going to reduce your operational expenditures. Or C, the move allows you for complete control of infrastructure resources. I'm going to give y'all some time. We just went over CapEx and OpEx. So let's see if it's stuck or if we got to brush back up on this, this up and coming week or not. Okay, we got some questions flooding in. We got some answers flooding in. Okay. I'm seeing predominantly A. It's a tie between A and B. So it's like a 50-50 split. Or maybe that's from I gotta look at the timestamp. That might be from the last question. Okay, we got A. Okay, I'm glad I didn't see C. I'll take it between A and B. We all should know between this image, and shout out to y'all, right? We all should know from that image alone that the move allows for complete control of infrastructure resources, right? That is not one of the advantages of moving into the cloud, right? If anything, you want to be able to let Microsoft manage that and not have to worry about that as you migrate in. So let's see. Shout out to y'all. Okay, look, A+ students. Y'all are on fire. We all got that right. Okay, let's end this out on something not CapEx and OpEx because we don't need to beat that into the ground too much. But it sounds like this might be. Let's see. This is all around public cloud. All right, cool. This is all around like public cloud, hybrid cloud, and really just reiterating some of the things we went through so far. Oh, no, this is a good way to close out. We're going to close out and then shift gears to 204. My AZ900 crew, feel free to hang on, but we're going to switch gears to 204 right after this, right? So question 15, Microsoft Office 365 is an example of what? Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service, right? So think about O365. That's like Excel, Word. Why am I drawing a blank here? Power BI, the whole productivity suite from Microsoft is O365. Is that going to be an example of an IaaS solution, infrastructure as a service, B, platform as a service, or C, software as a service? Let's see if we could go out on 100% because we all got the last one right. Okay, C. Okay, it's a lot of C's flooded in on this one. We was really confident. All right, cool. Let's check it out. Man, I think we're about to have 50. I think we're about to have 50 plus certified engineers for sure in the beginning of April, man. Like y'all are on fire. I dropped the link to this YouTube video in the chat. Let me pin it again for you all who might have jumped in new. Just to give you all a quick overview, we're about to pivot to AZ204 studying. We're going to have the same format, some pop quiz, some questions. My AZ900 crew, do not get intimidated by this. This is the Azure developer exam, and this is some of the study areas we're going to try to cover in this 30-minute span. If you are taking another exam than AZ900 and AZ204, please feel free to drop it in the chat. If we have a little bit of time at the end, maybe we can squeeze in some questions. But let's get into 204 now and see how we do. Let me see. I'll drop this one in the chat for you all as well. And then, as I mentioned earlier, let me know the best way you all are learning. Like, are you guys benefiting from the labs? How are the study guides going? I'm going to build out a study guide for every single certification, I promise. I'm doing a lot just to make sure everybody gets their voucher and redeems it. But yeah, let me know what's been beneficial to you so far as you all are studying. But let's get into it. Okay, my bad. Okay. Dang. Dang. I didn't pause it. Well, I'm not pausing it fast enough. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Question 3, we start for real. Which of the following app service plans is only available to function apps, right? So these past 2 questions have been, once again, questions where it is definitively one answer. As I mentioned earlier, some of these questions will just be the best answer depending on the scenario. So you have to do process of elimination, but let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to pause it before he even reads it out. All right, which of the following app service tiers is not currently available to app service on Linux, right? So which of the following app service tiers is not currently available to app service on Linux? They are really going crazy with app service in the first 3 questions. So is it free, basic, shared, standard, or premium? Now, for my AZ900 folks, guys, don't get too overwhelmed. This is 204, so it is a little bit more, difficult. It's kind of to the understanding that you would know these things. So if you're struggling with these first 3 questions, definitely dive into, app service and function apps and look into those. But feel free to drop in the chat, my 204 crew, which one is not available to app service in Linux. This video isn't as good because it just tells you the answer, but it doesn't really like break it down like the AZ900 video, but it's okay. We will do our own due diligence. All right, we got YouTube and LinkedIn. Oh, I guess you guys can't really, you guys have to type out the entire answer. That kind of sucks. All right, cool. So once again, multiple choice on this one. Typically it'll tell you how many to select, I believe, on the exam. I don't really remember. I don't even know if I can say that. But I'm gonna go ahead and participate. I'm gonna go with free and share for this. We got A. Somebody said free. Okay, cool. Okay, here we go. This is a real multiple choice one, right? So which of the following settings are not swapped when you swap an app? So we have our handler mappings, we have publishing endpoints, general settings, always on, and custom domain names. Yeah, we could just follow honestly like A, B, C, D, E. So you guys don't have to type it out completely. So if you want to just type in the chat A, B, C, D, E, it does say which of the following, select all that apply. So you can select multiple here. We got B and C. Oh, shout out to 3 a.m. Thought Club. I know you. I recognize your name from Discord, man. Appreciate everything, man or woman. Sorry, I don't remember everybody's gender, but 3 a.m. Thought Club. Shout out to you. All right, we got B and C. The 204 crew is quiet. You were close. You were definitely close. I feel like these are ones where you kind of have to try to use process of elimination where you can, but it is a little tricky because you don't know how many are correct. But I believe the way it scores it, and don't quote me on this, but look into it. I believe the way it scores it is like you get a point just for getting at least like one selection right. Like if you got all three right, that's a certain amount of points. I don't think it's an all or nothing, but look into that and verify that for sure. But yeah, you got one right. You weren't even taking 204. You got one right. So shout out to you. He's not really explaining a lot, so I'm going to give a little bit of context where I can. If you all want to dive deeper, feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll explain more things. I obviously can't see you guys, so I don't know what you're retaining and what's flying over your head. But when he talked about swapping slots on that previous question, we talked a little bit about staging environments when we were going through our DevOps challenge, right? Remember we said that when we have an application, you can have stages, right? So you could have like your dev environment where your developers push code. You can have your test environment where testers will test the code. If you have manual testers, and then you could have like your production environment, and that's where like your end users are actually going to interact with your application, right? So like right now we are on LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn's production environment, right? And so we call those stages. Well, within those stages, when you say like swapping slots, sometimes what you can do is you can have like two production environments and pretty much like swap the traffic over like incrementally. Like you can say like 90% of the traffic goes to this production environment, 10% of the traffic goes here. And you can like gradually swap those kind of like destinations over after a deployment. So that's when you look up swapping slots, that's what that kind of refers to. But cool. Question 5. Which of the following plans for functions automatically add compute power if needed when your code is running? Select all that apply. So we have our consumption plan, we have our app service plan, we have our premium plan, and our virtual plan. So A, B, C, or D again. So think about automatically adding compute power. Think about the different levels of the plans, right? You have like your free, your basic, your shared, think about what level would typically give you that feature. Okay, we got B and C. Okay, you guys are on fire. Okay, we got C, B, and C. So app service plan and premium plan, right? So we got a few for B, a few for C, and then we have a B and C. Remember, it says you can select all that apply. So let's see what we got. Man, he's flying through this. Let me drop a Microsoft Learn doc in the chat for that one. That talks about the different plans that they have. Sometimes it's just a process of elimination by knowing the different like names of the plans. I just dropped it in the LinkedIn chat. I have to figure out how to drop it in YouTube. But sometimes it's just knowing the names of the plans and being able to go through process of elimination if you know like the tiers and the pricing points, the price points for those services. Let me see how I can get live. I'll read off the next question and try to drop it in the YouTube chat. So, is the following statement true or false? We got a 50-50 shot. All right, 204 crew, we got a 50-50 shot, right? Only functions running in the consumption plan require a general Azure storage account. We got true or false. Let me try to get this over to the YouTube crew while y'all type in the chat true or false. It's really like tough navigating, multiple platforms up here. Like a lot of people make this look easy and it's definitely not. All right. Let's see what we got. True or false? 50-50 shot here. All right. So like we should get 100% of participation. 50-50 shot. Let me pull up the question again. I wanted to drop this MS Learn, but let's see. Okay, we got a false in the chat. 204 crew, y'all quiet on me. We got to go back to AZ900. All right, cool. Let me hit play. I'm trying to get this doc for you guys. Oh, 10 false. Oh, 3 false. All right, you gotta love when you take a lucky guess and it works out. I appreciate the honesty and humility. I know you're studying for AZ900. So, all right, cool. 204 crew. Oh, cool. We got somebody for 104. All right, since 204 is quiet, and I know 3 a.m. thoughts is on 900. This will be our last 204 question, and then we can shift gears to 104. To answer your question, David, I was gonna do 104, but then somebody dropped 204, so here we are. All right, cool. You created a function in the Azure portal. Which of the following statements regarding the direction property of the triggers or bindings are valid? Select all that apply. Man, 204, they're really, cranking up the notch for you all. But don't allow this to intimidate you. Allow it to like go back and study and really like understand these questions. But for triggers, the direction is always in. For triggers, the direction can be in or out. Input and output bindings can use in or out. Some bindings can use in out, right? So we can do A, B, C, and D once again in the chat for this. So think about your function, right? Things that are triggering certain events or certain things to occur. What is the direction that can happen in? What way can the trigger occur? 3 a.m. thoughts, you got a lucky guess again, man. So interesting being on like YouTube and LinkedIn. It's like weird to be on 2 platforms at once. All right, cool. I'm gonna give y'all some time because this one is a little tricky. Okay, we got A and C. LinkedIn says A and C. YouTube is thinking. Everyone else is just sitting back and watching us suffer. Yeah. There you go. There's the comparison. Somebody said Lambda functions in AWS. Look at you guys. All right, cool. So Lambda and Azure functions. That's the comparison for the AWS crew. Keep that cheat sheet handy when we go through these. Okay, we got A, always in, A and C, and then A. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got. All right, y'all. All right, 204. We got some studying to do, okay? That's between all of us. That was definitely a little intense. Let's shift gears to 104 real quick as we close out. As always, guys, I'm here to help you all pass in whatever capacity I can. So please let me know what you need more of from these live sessions. If you guys want to study a specific topic, we can dive in deep. Just DM me on Discord, LinkedIn, whatever ahead of time so I can prepare. If you guys want to do, I won't do hands-on labs with y'all, but if y'all want to do more Q&As like this, let's just make this fun. All right, 104, it's time to shine. So a company needs to create a storage account that must follow the requirements below. We have requirements A through E. So we are really using our brain on this question, right? AZ900, please don't get scared and run away. I promise you, once you develop this muscle, you can move through these, right? So users should be able to add files such as images and videos. So your storage has to be images and videos, right? Ability to store archive data. What does archive data mean, right? That means data that we're not accessing as often. You have file shares need to be in place, which can be accessed across several VMs. And then the data needs to be available even if a region goes down. The solution needs to be cost effective. Man, shout out to the Azure administrators. You all are beasts. So which of the following type of storage account would you create for this purpose? So we have LRS, locally redundant storage. We have B, ZRS, zone redundant storage. C, geo redundant storage. And then D, read access geo redundant storage, RAGRS. So images and videos, archive data, cold storage, archive data, accessed across several VMs, available if a region goes down. So if a region goes down, we need to be able to access it somewhere else. And then the solution needs to be cost effective. If you're here from, another cloud, think about the answer in that cloud with this requirement, and then try to see if you could port it over to Azure and if you're getting it right. All right, cool. LinkedIn, y'all quiet on me. Y'all got anything over there, LinkedIn? Do we need a little bit more time? Okay, it's a battle between D and C. Geo-redundant storage or read access geo-redundant storage. Let's see what we got. Sorry, guys. Trying to. Shout out LinkedIn. So shout out to everyone, regardless if you said C or D. I'm honestly going to give you a pat on the back and credit for that one. I'm very proud of you all for doing C and D. And I only say that because the only thing that excludes D from being correct in this scenario is the fact that you factor in cost, right? So really, like, as you all go through this one, especially the more advanced certifications, use your process of elimination to, eliminate things that are completely incorrect, like how he took off LRS and ZRS, right? Locally redundant isn't going to help us if our region goes down, so we can immediately, scratch that off the list. And then before you finally lock in all your answers, go back and review them, right? So, maybe you click D in the heat of the moment, but you press the button to review it later. At the end, you realize you have like 30 minutes left, right? Come back and look at this answer and say, like, okay, does it really fit A through E in all scenarios? But shout out to you all. Somebody said false. Woo! You almost said it. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all some time to lock this one in, and I'm honestly just gonna shut up so you can think your way through this one, because there's a lot of moving pieces, right? So you have your Azure subscription, right? So at the subscription level, and then it contains a virtual network within it named VNet1. VNet1 is a resource group is in a resource group named RG1. So you have your subscription, then you have the resource named RG1, and VNet1 is inside of it, right? Subscription one has a user named user1, and user1 has the following rules. So you need to be able to ensure that user1 can assign the reader role to VNet1 for VNet1 to other users. What should you do? Okay. LinkedIn is waking up. Y'all weren't feeling 204, but 104 is where y'all shine. I see what's going on here. All right, we got C. Anything from YouTube? C again. I said I was going to shut up and let you guys go through that, and then I yapped the whole way through. So that's kind of funny. All right, cool. Oh no. Yo, I have to stop looking at my phone. I hate when I do that. I got a really important email and I had to read that. Dang. Okay, we gave this one away. It's all good. A little freebie. We're gonna do one more. We're right at time. I have a little bit of time, but I feel like AZ 104, you guys didn't get the love you needed because these questions are really long. So let's do one more at least. All right. All right. Okay, I'm gonna pause it now before I mess up. All right. So maybe I can touch on this next week. Y'all let me know in the chat before we close out if that would be beneficial. Well, I'll ask you guys at the end. So select the appropriate options in the answer area. So which file are you going to create? And then which tool are you going to use to deploy the virtual machine? So you'll be selecting a file and then a tool. I'm gonna give you some time I'm gonna give you guys some time to type this one out. I cannot talk. Clearly, it's past my bedtime. You have an Azure subscription in description 1. You plan to deploy it. All right. We have any insight, guys? We're going out with a very hard question, so it's okay if we don't get this one right, but I have faith in you guys. If anyone could do it, it's you. All right, we got cloud init and azvm create command. So cloud init and then azvm create command. Let's let LinkedIn out. David, I'm gonna call you out, man. This is your exam. It's your time to shine. No pressure though. You got this. You got this. King Dave, where you at with the best guess? Okay, King Dave is locked in too, holding it down for LinkedIn. AZVM create and then cloud init text. Okay, so we're all aligned on the AZVM create and then we're all aligned on the cloud init text. So see what we got. Oh, we love a tutorial. All right, y'all. All right, guys. So, how we feeling? How are we feeling? How are we feeling in the chat? I appreciate all y'all so much for the participation. You guys actually made this super fun. From my side, 3 a.m. Thought said, "What a guess, man!" If you go take AZ 204, sorry AZ 104, and you pass just off guessing, you are a beast. And he's being humble. Really is not a guess. He does have cloud knowledge. He's just new into the Azure world, I believe. So he's not really just guessing, right? He's playing the humble route. But yeah, guys, let me know in the chat what you all need more of. Let me share you one more thing with you guys as y'all head out. Let me know what you guys are getting value. Let me know if next week if it would be valuable to for those of you, like if this is your first time taking an Azure cert. Let me know if it would be valuable to go over what was I gonna say? Go over like the styles of the questions they have. Remember, in this GitHub repository, we have a bunch of Azure labs. I created out week 1, 2, and 3. Week 4 soon come. And I also have these Azure certs where I have study guides created for you all. Shout out to that. I got one for 104 and for AZ900. I will push some more out for 204, and like I have like over 7 different people, 7 different certification you guys are taking, but feel free to leverage this if you need it. I'll drop the link in the chat for you all. But all right, cool. Yeah. Let me know if next week if you guys want to, have this same flow of answering some questions together. If you guys want to dive into something specific, if you want to talk about like how I approach taking the exam, spacing out time, going back and, confirming my answers, what type of questions to expect, like drag and drop, true, false, that type of thing. I'm here to make this whatever you all need. I'm here to serve. But this is the link to the DevOps repo in here. And I appreciate y'all pulling up for an hour. I hope y'all had a little bit of fun with me. And let me drop that in the LinkedIn chat for you all as well. But all right, guys, not seeing any motion in the chat, so I'm assuming you all are good to go. I'll get a link out for next week. And I'm so excited for y'all to pass y'all exams in April. Like, y'all are literally crushing it. So I know you're going to do well. Just keep up the studying. Keep sharing resources with each other. And I'll see y'all in the cloud.